Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar, Digital Mastery. My name is Sam Sakasiris, Austmine Membership Manager for WA, and I'm your host today. Before we begin, and on behalf of Austmine and all of today's presenting companies, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm hosting this webinar from the lands of the Whadjuk Noongar people. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands in which we all meet today and recognise the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people attending this webinar. As you may have seen in recent weeks, Austmine was very proud to unveil a brand new logo. We're excited about the new look, marking a fantastic new chapter for us and reflecting the vibrant, collaborative and technology-focused METS community of which we are all a part. While our Australian heritage remains central to who we are, the new logo represents the incredible growth Austmine has experienced over the past 35 years. The circular connected lines aim to represent how we bring people together, drive innovation, lead technology advancement, and continue to have a clear commitment to sustainability. It also highlights our global presence and leadership. I hope you like our new brand, take pride in being part of a forward-thinking and collaborative METS community. We look forward to the next exciting chapter for Austmine and are delighted to have you here to join us on this journey. The Innovation Spotlight webinar series provides our members a way to showcase their innovative solutions, techniques and technologies to see what the next phase of mining holds. Today we continue the series with Digital Mastery, showcasing our members' expertise in integrating and elevating mining through tech and IoT. This includes using smart alerting and digital modelling tools to maintain productivity, creating value through ARDI software, advancing traditional mining methods, and guided work instructions. I'm joined today by 5 industry-leading member companies sharing their specialties in integrating various technological platforms, developing unified control systems, employing IoT in mining operations, and leveraging cloud technologies to centralise and optimise data flow. Joining us to share their expertise today is Rhonda Bulmer, Sales Executive, APAC Mining for Envirosuite, Steve Harding, Lead Developed for Optrix, Matthew Craft, Senior Manager for Technology, Blast Design and Execution at Orica Solutions, Liam Scanlon, Chief Operating Officer for HINDSITE Industries, and Shannon Hand, AVEVA Pre-Sales Manager Pacific. The format of the webinar will include a short presentation by each of our presenters, followed by a Q&A session. If you have questions for any of the presenters during the webinar, please type them into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. If your question is directed to a specific presenter, please note their name in your question. For your information, this webinar is being recorded and it will be shared with all attendees. That concludes the welcome and introduction. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our first presenter, Rhonda Bulmer, Sales Executive, APAC Mining for Envirosuite.
Thank you for that. Great introduction, Danny and Sam. Yeah, we really thank you for being able to, everyone to join us today. We also thank you to Austmine for facilitating this great forum that we can be involved in. You know, I think it's a great opportunity to have a robust discussion about digital mastery. Hopefully we at Envirosuite can add to your day, give you some more information that might be helpful. But this is a great topic, digital mastery. You know, we're moving away from that for the discussion about it being a manual paper-based method, and now we're moving into a more digital method on mine sites. But what is the solution? Is it easy to use? Can we give you predictive choices? Can we align with the regulators or other government bodies? And that's something that we want to share with you today. So without further ado, you know, this is the super pit in Kalgoorlie. It sits right on the doorstep of the Kalgoorlie township. They've had to evolve. They've had to make sure that they were able to provide a really great outcome that would give that site, you know, the benefit of doing their job, but also interacting with a community that would have ongoing effects. And this is something that Envirosuite has really been able to put forward out to our customers, is how do we evolve with the community and how do we actually make that really work for them? Well, let me share you with a couple of ideas around that. So if we were to go in, what would be the worst thing that could happen into a local community? And it would be, you know, weather and other things that were not expected, conditions that they didn't know were going to happen or would actually have an outcome that could be really bad. And Envirosuite, we actually can pull together some very interesting digital solutions that actually allow you to predict the future. This is something that's really, I guess, powerful in the community and in what you do as a business, but actually what is going to give you, I guess, the ability to make best decisions, best business decisions. That's what we're looking for in this digital method that we're working forward in. What are the biggest issues? So where do mines spend the most time and money on dust control? So dust is a very big one, and this is the main thrust of where I'm going to be, I guess, developing most of my conversation today. Is we're going to be analysing mostly historical data from the compliance monitors and the weather stations. They're going to be looking at manual assessments, data collection. They'll be looking for feedback from the word site. These are all after the fact outcomes. So they'd also be looking at recommendations from third-party consultants and paper-based reports. So again, very manual, not digital, not really conducive to being able to do the best outcome. And then they're going to have to, if anything happens out of some of those results, they're going to look at the investigations or lengthy investigations leading to inconclusive results. Is that the best way to spend your time? We ask that question. We ask that question of our customers. Is that where you want to spend your time? We know the pain points of our customers are in this slide. So we're talking about compliance around monitoring, and we're saying, are you focused on collection and the storage of the information? Or are you systems backwards towards the historical analysis? And we know that is slow and it's used primarily for compliance reporting. There's a lot of data. We use the term data tsunami. We know that that's a heavy word that's used regularly in the way that we manage digital information. And then there's these data silos, an area where, yes, we do have, dust, we have noise, we have a number of different areas within what we do, and they're silos within themselves, let alone what could be a silo between all of the site as well beyond that. So what we've done is we've come together and we've created a really amazing platform called Omnis. We believe it's the world's most comprehensive mining environmental managed solution, meaning that you don't have to do all the hard work, the hard yards on the ground, getting together the manual information, the manual areas that you need to get a result from. How do you make business decisions? How do you do what you need to do? This is a really hard area that we know that a lot of our customers have been struggling with, and we know that the way that they do it is that they need dependable information that really gives them accurate, real-time, I'm live, I'm able and capable to make that outcome of that decision that I'm doing. This is a little bit of a graphic that I just wanted to show you guys about how it works. So on the ground, we've been around for 30 plus years. So we're a company that's well entrenched in the way that we are able to gather this data, this information. And, you know, depending on the area that you're working in, you know, is it air quality, dust, maybe a noise, vibration? These are areas to do with drill and blast, or whether it be the weather to do with dust, which I'll talk about in a moment. I think then we bring it into Omnis, and we give us the ability to make decisions again that are accurate or close to accurate. Because what do we want to do? We want to make actionable, insightable information that means that I can actually take my next steps, and I feel confident about the next steps that I do. But how do I do that? I do that by the information, the digital data that I've collected. And that's how I make those insights and those next steps. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I've jumped ahead. A lot of what we know fits into the world of how most of our customers operate is how we help them at that mine site level. So we know that they are looking to maintain environmental compliance, and they're looking to reduce non-compliant events. We know you're governed by regulators and potentially by some sort of government organisation. We know you have elements there that are needing to be attained. We know you need to increase operational efficiency. And this is the way you can do that is by, imagine if you knew your information in advance. And I'm going to show you that in a moment through our weather planning connection. But if you had that information at your fingertips and you knew you could make choices, how would you actually operate? The TARPs are a #1 priority, we know, across many elements of the mine site. So TARP is across the mine site. It could be across multiple smaller areas of the mine site. So we know there are multiple TARPs that need to be taken into consideration at any time, and they're there because we want to, you know, look at the parameters and reduce the safety risk. And we know that they're there to demonstrate the responsible operation and build a social license to operate. All of the mine sites have a social license to operate. And if we know that, we can actually incorporate that with the way that we work within Envirosuite. So how do we give you the power back? How do we give a customer the power back to actually be able to do it? It's through a number of different ways. So it's situational awareness beyond the digital alerts. So what we do is amazing things to do with alerts and reports and so forth that I'll talk about in a moment. But actually, how do we get to that end result? There's an ability to plan these activities because we give you the tools and we give you the ability to be able to move through those to actually get to the end result that you need to get to. Out of that, one of the tools is site-specific weather forecasts. So if you knew that there were bad weather or there was going to be certain weather certain days, you might choose not to work and do a certain job a particular day because of the evidence that you've been given. And that's fantastic. That's amazing. That gives you fantastic forecasting information that you need. If within that, you can also run scenarios. So if you could run scenarios over, let's call it day 1, day 2, day 3, and you knew that whichever day was the better day to go, this digital information, we're talking about mastery. We're talking about giving you the ability to be the master over the information, to give you the ability to do your choice of your job and how you would do that. At the end of the day, we're looking at identifying the lowest risk day to be able to operate, and information given that you can pull together through this digital method is actually the better way to go. It really, really gives you the ability to change the way your outcome could be. So instead of it being, let's see what happens, to minimal risk and minimal downtime, that is a really amazing outcome. I think this digital effort of what normally would be manual and probably paper driven and probably by a third party, now you're in control of being able to make decisions about what you're going to do on site. Then the next thing I'd like to say is we've got a situation with BHP over in WA. They've got our system in actually overlaid on what they do. So Omnis provides site-specific dust risk forecast. I'm using these words specifically because these are the words that if you're in that role, you will understand that this is a really, really important thing. It's helpful. It reduces the impact on those high-risk weather periods. We've seen pictures before where the dust can come in without any, with a day or two's knowledge. But if you know that you need to work a certain way, BHP has been able to do that. They are comprehensive in their method of how they're controlling their air quality, how they're monitoring it, how they're being able to get there to make sure that they're integrated. Envirosuite has this analysis and this investigation alerting, and the reporting tools are really the way that they're able to make sure that those outcomes are all set up and they're all really working, I guess, hand in hand to make sure that they're, making the most of what our solution could do, and again, making it less manual and more of an integrated thing. The other thing is there's a multi-sited outcome here. So if you're a BHP and you've got a number of sites, you could be actually able to share this information across numbers of sites. You'd know as the manager how to work this all out, how this all is going to happen, what it's going to be. So the other thing too is it's accurate. We provide accurate real-time data, incorporated into the weather. We can incorporate your TARP compliance. We can incorporate other metrics like vibration and noise. But the other main thing that we know is we can incorporate compliance. So compliance with your local state advisory group, whatever government group you're under, DES, DEMIRS, whichever group you're with, will be able to work with that. The other thing is, just as I'm finishing off here, is we work with a number of big companies, but actually it's the automated area of what we do that actually adds the most value. So things like we provide alerts, reports, predictive modeling, and in that predictive modeling would be the weather. The whole idea is we're at the moment we're discussing dust, but we know we're talking about a lot of other things. So under dust becomes general monitoring, but also drill and blast. And then which days would you do those drill and blast things? Multi-site overseeing. And the outcome of what we're trying to do here is apply an ease of use workflow We want to give you confidence in the data, and we want to give you real-time prediction of the site impacts and how they may affect you. So I know I've kind of rushed through a little bit today on that information, but I know we've got a little bit of time at the end for some questions, but at this stage, I think I'd just like to finish off on that slide there. But yeah, you know, with what we do, I think we give you back the power to be able to make decisions about what you need to do digitally, rather than it be that more manual, long-winded way of how things used to be. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks so much, Rhonda. Some great insights and a really good case study there for the members to assess as well. Next up, I'd like to welcome Steve Harding, lead developer for Optrix. Thank you, Steve.
Yep. Hi, my name is Stephen Harding, and I'm here to talk about some of the things that are preventing digital mastery. Many sites have made the leap towards the digital transformations, but turning that transformation into actual value in the complex operational technology network of the mine, where you've got high-speed data and systems that are wildly different to what's in corporate networks, that's hard. Organizations often find they're stuck behind one or more barriers to turning the digital information they have into business value. First issue is isolation. So as Rhonda mentioned, you can end up with several distinct knowledge silos, often on different layers of the network, carrying different types of information. Each source is accessed in its own way, so while you've corralled your digital space, you can't say you've mastered it when it's so difficult to access. There are opportunities for real business value hidden in your process data, but you can't see them easily when you can't see how they fit together, and you miss key insights when you're forced to look at each source of data by itself. But when you combine information, when you combine sensor data with, say, structural information about your mine, you can analyze machine performance, perform failure analysis, and model system behavior. If you add details from your staff scheduling system, you've got per crew and per shift analytics. You can also add maintenance calendars and other non-sensor information, stuff that's not normally in your industrial historian, and you can make metrics and KPIs that are fair to your crews and far more acceptable to staff. They don't punish them for things beyond their control. You throw in personnel and machine tracking, and you can work with strata conditions, plan vehicle movements. The basic point is when you add more sources of data and more types of data, you get new perspectives on your operations to help you reveal issues, value, and opportunities. But combining these sources can be a lot of work and is quite difficult. We've built a platform called ARDI. It's designed to help consolidate the information from a variety of different sources, and was specifically built for the challenges of working across the OT and IT divide, so working with extreme speed sensor data and slowly updating corporate data. Our goal is to make a central place where you can access the whole picture being painted by your information in a consistent way. One key thing about us is we don't replace any of your systems, and we don't replicate anything but the most basic information. We go to the source where you're storing them currently. So you're always accessing the latest and most up-to-date details. This is particularly useful when forecasting, since systems that insist on replicating your data can struggle with how variable and changing future data is. Another barrier that does come up on occasion are data lakes. So while some of these are well built, you do occasionally end up with systems that are just huge pools of data points. They don't have any coherent structure to them. Makes it a real struggle for somebody, especially if they're coming in with a little less technical knowledge, to understand what the data means and how the pieces fit together. Where can you even start to find improvements if you can't understand what you've got, particularly if you're an engineer or an analyst or AI author? You can't master something if you don't even understand it. To help resolve this, ARDI provides structure to your data. It organizes information into a human-readable form so you can access it, or many people can access it with different levels of expertise. The assets and parts of your system are also never truly independent. ARDI can be given the connections between the assets you have. So by combining data points into assets and knowing how those assets are interconnected into systems, we can deliver new ways of looking at your mine. Among other uses, we use these relationships to make our reporting, analytics, and AI dynamic and adaptable so they work with changes that happen in the future. Our structure also means that ARDI can be used to abstract or iron out the differences between sites. This means a single solution can often be deployed across several different systems, a number of sites, or radically different infrastructures. Lock-in is another barrier to mastery. So vendor lock-in, where you're stuck using one vendor's solutions, is a problem, but it's just one of the types of lock-in we try to address. We've also found that people who are a very vital but often ignored part of the digital transformation process are locked into very specific ways of viewing and using your data. We've never installed ARDI without finding issues in places where nobody has had any vision. There's real value finding these areas, hiding in areas where you've got digital data, but nothing using it and nothing looking at it. So to address this, ARDI is built to be open. We have simple, flexible ways to access information and tools and add-ons that deliver specific data-driven benefits if you're looking for certain styles of reporting or data delivery. We've also got a focus on bringing information to staff. And by that, we don't just mean KPIs to managers, but we mean getting critical information into the hands of people on site. So with our field access options, anyone on site can get easy, instant, and contextual asset knowledge through a tablet or smartphone. Throw a GoPro on somebody's head and you can build a street view style map of your location. So you can walk through a facility and interact with the equipment. You can plan before you arrive, and when you get onto site, you're ready to work. You can operate independently. You know how to navigate. And we can bring your live data and, even more importantly, your history to life in 3D, allowing you to see your mine in real time from impossible vantage points. You can look inside machines to see what's going on inside, and the user has control over what they're looking at, when it's from, and how they're seeing it. You don't have to use 3D or any of these methods we've shown, but they're user configurable and available to you if and when you want them as your system grows. And although people are a big part of ARDI's focus, we also make sure that data is available to software. So along with reporting, analytics, and modeling, the range of information we hold makes ARDI a fantastic platform for machine learning. And this isn't your, the vibrations increased this week compared to last week sort of AI. This is plugged directly into the process, so it can detect, model, and predict in moments with live system state. So after the digital transformation, or even simply after adding a new sensor, people often are left asking, what's next? What are we going to do now? ARDI is designed to help you answer that question, to remove the barriers between the information you have and what you'd actually like to do with it. It's also designed to bring your process, your technology, and importantly, your people closer together. While the system, so we're having a little issue with the slide, there we go. While the system can run in the cloud, it's primarily designed to be run and used in your operational network, on site. It's built to help you achieve your outcomes, from simply just reading values into Excel, improving utilization of equipment, refining your control limits, or helping drive down energy use and emissions. To get the best out of your process, it's very powerful to have a platform that allows your solutions to be as unique as your mine is. If you're looking for competitive advantage, it's great to have the freedom to create something different and new, built on a foundation that can stand up to changes both site to site and over time. That's largely what ARDI is for. So if you do find yourself struggling with these or any other barriers, providing data-driven value across your organization, please get in touch with us. We can help you break down the barriers blocking the path from your digital transformation to digital mastery across the IT and OT divide.
Thanks very much, Stephen, for those insights and some great tech there with the ARTI technology. Next, I'd like to welcome Matthew Kraft, Senior Manager for Technology, Blast Design Execution for Orica Digital Solutions.
Thanks, Sam. Just confirm you can hear me.
Yes.
No problem. So thank you for having me. I'm Matthew Kraft from Orica Digital. Today, I will take you through some of our digital mastery philosophies and practices and show you how we try to balance innovation with the basics. So who are Orica Digital? So we are one of 4 vertical groups in the Orica company. Within Orica Digital, we have Ore Body Intelligence, Blast Design and Execution, and Geo Solutions. And we have a product portfolio that's quite significant with dozens of spot solutions and many integrated solutions. The team is now way over 900 strong and consists of commercial, implementation, support, product, marketing, and engineering. We offer a range of sensors, cloud software solutions, and interconnected workflows. Customer challenges. So everything for us begins with the customer and their problems. We're a product and customer-led group. Our customers are definitely in uncharted territory, and we're here to help them navigate this. Ultimately, there are millions of small challenges in our customers' operations, and but most issues can be consolidated down into these 3 key areas of existential threats, which are total cost of ownership, social license to operate, and future access to ore. So how do we approach these challenges? So I think what Stephen was talking about definitely resonates with us. We start with really creating and organizing the information. So we've developed an ecosystem that has timeless and modern capabilities that leverage modern computer science advancements. We know that data needs to be collected and made available to begin the journey. Having the data structured as a priority means we offer a cloud native solution which leverages the power of the cloud, so strengths such as efficiency, scalability, centrality, GPU compute, redundancy, security, and so forth. Building on this foundation, we add context by connecting the organized information appropriately. Whether it's connecting internally or externally, we need the data to make sense and be tailored to its function. Infrastructure and services need to be designed for specific data purposes for optimum performance. We then add our subject matter expertise as further context and nuance to those foundational capabilities. We like to leverage our mining and blasting services IP to solve classical problems with modern solutions. Finally, we finish with surface functionality, interoperable touch points and spot solutions that, when we combine them, create workflows for our customers. Here's where we use the analytical value escalator to move from descriptive through to diagnostic to predictive, then prescriptive, and finally AI if appropriate. We want to move the decision-making process prior to the event to encourage goal seeking and scenario management. On AI, we've used AI for over a decade and will continue to do so. We also follow principles of using more refined algorithm and mathematics with faster computational processing that's now available to us. But at the end of the day, we want practical solutions over anything, and we do make a concerted effort not to deploy extensive tech for tech's sake. So some examples. So certainly not an exhaustive list. I've tried to choose solutions that are most effective in this medium. So I'll take you through some of these products, and it may help you understand what we actually deliver to help the customers with those key challenges. So for us, it all begins with digitalization, which is turning paper-based or uncaptured data into a digital format. To do this, we use sensors, IoT devices, mobile applications to turn analog information into digital. And the value for our customers here is general digital data collection and standardization. So that lower pillar, that lower foundation. Once the data is organized, our customers need it to be centrally available, whether it's either statistical or spatial in nature. By crunching the information and presenting it to the users in modern analytical dashboards, our customers have a reporting snapshot that can be accessed and displayed from any browser, which provides great transparency into their operations. So we live in a 4D world. We need that spatial capability to model this. Our customers require agnostic capability that's applicable to either underground or open cut operations. To help the customer, we've developed highly performant custom CAD engines that manage big data and processing tasks, which are then complemented with the fundamentals that all users come to expect from design tools. Things like solids, surfaces, annotation, block model management, and so on. This helps our customers control their reality by modeling and experimenting in the digital world first. So, to predict what will happen before it does, our customers need to model the physical world to understand the results of their intended actions prior to the event. With our customers, we've created a world-class physics engine that emulates the physical world and our resource management activities. These engines simulate large blasts in under 10 minutes, a task that took us days only a decade ago. Furthermore, our customers need to supplement models with models. They're looking for multiple KPIs from one activity. This is where we're working on overlaying our physics model for blast movement and ore recovery with KPIs such as timing, vibration, throughput, general economics, and damage modeling. All of these factors impact the performance of a blast and downstream activities. Our customers want to understand how these factors interact prior to the blasting event, and they want time to see the outcome and adjust parameters or pull levers to achieve their desired objectives. The customer needs to understand the relationship between various data sets. Therefore, we provide data science techniques to demonstrate how measured results from our hardware technology or other data may include FMS, customer, third party, or even our own information. These solutions provide a quick snapshot of data relationships with classical statistical analysis and insight, further enhancing the transparency of the operation. So to understand changes over time from in situ to blasted inventory and beyond, we know our customers need a central spatial model through time to store all data related to their mining activities. This allows them to control the micro events and place them in a macro context of the mine across time. Customers can see the flow of the resource extraction as operations advance from drilling, ore identification, blasting, load and haul, and processing. So, in conclusion, for us at Orica Digital Solutions, mastery is about finding the balance between innovation and the basics. We want to solve old problems with new solutions. However, we want to make sure we are working closely with the customer to solve the problems that matter. That's it from me. Thank you very much for having me. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we can discuss the topic further. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthew. Great presentation. Some fantastic innovation coming from Orica there. Next, I would like to welcome Liam Scanlon, the Chief Operating Officer for HINDSITE Industries.
Hello, just testing. You can see and hear me. Beautiful. All right. So to kick off, hi, I'm Liam Scanlon. I'm one of the co-founders of HINDSITE, and I'm really excited to talk to you really briefly about, I guess, the simple digital solution that we provide for a really big pain point across the industry. And that's, with all the insights we get from data, ultimately it's still hands and legs in the field that go out to do critical tasks and critical work. And we want to make sure that we can give them everything they need to more consistently do those tasks safer, more efficient, and effectively, as well as knowing that those tasks were done efficiently and effectively. And so that's one of the reasons we started HINDSITE over 6 years ago, is because we saw that with all of our efforts to innovate, and in the 21st century, we still don't do standard work very well. Either the information we give those people in the field is either oversimplified, or it's buried so deep that they're still relying on basically a spaghetti diagram of business processes to go out, do the work, and then provide that record of work very slowly back into either the mine operator or those those METS company and service providers, some of whom are on the call today. And so for HINDSITE, we really wanted to focus in our solution around those processes that provide for standardization. We know people will be trained and they're deemed competent to go out and do the work. And while they're not staying around long enough in the role, or the products themselves are, every year we're producing something newer and better and smarter that goes out on site, it's still people ultimately out in the field who need to operate or maintain that equipment in order to get the most out of that asset. So we wanted to focus our efforts around those systems that provide for standardization. And that's the concept of a guided work instruction. And we've found that HINDSITE applies not just for those mine operators, for people out on site doing that work as an operator, but all the way back through the service providers to the assembly and manufacturing stages as well. You need to make sure that there is consistency and transparency on how that work is performed, and then the confidence that it was done correctly with the record of work produced to go back into the business work process to enable the follow-on functions. So with that in mind, we've focused a lot of efforts, not just with mine operators, but with those service providers. And in fact, we're used out on site today on almost every mine site around the world by at least one provider. A couple of quick case examples of why bother with that effort and the HINDSITE transformation. Well, one is it's much easier and simpler to get started. One we work with is Boeing Defence, and they did the math on the value of being able to digitize using HINDSITE their current work practices at their R&D facility to transplant them into a new facility that they were creating to scale up production here in Queensland. And they found that they could bank on more than 5% throughput improvement by doing that work, as well as safety and quality improvements as well. Another quick example then, not just in manufacturing, but for the field service and service delivery. Michelin and their MEMS product, they found that they had experienced a big reduction in unavailability of their equipment out on site because they provided those HINDSITE work instructions to the folks in the field rather than having to pull the equipment up and waiting to fly a Michelin technician out there to service them effectively. So two really quick examples of why if you yourself are sitting there frustrated that some of those processes aren't digitized enough, well, we here have a solution for you. So talking about, I guess, the offering itself, it's online. It's a dedicated app on any device that someone has on them in the field. And from a control perspective, it can fit in with an ERP, an LMS, in that schema of existing systems, or it can work standalone because we've worked very hard to make it very easy to stand up and provide that basic digitization capability to turn it around to people and put it into action. Couple of additional functions there, QR code interoperability, being able to just walk up, scan a QR code on a piece of kit or in the workshop, and you're taken directly to that latest version of that checklist or work instruction, being taken through it, prompted to capture the evidence of work as you go, and that report is automatically generated as you are doing the work. It allows not just that particular task, but it can form part of a bigger job, and you provide a lot of coordination work and capability in the product as well if you don't have that in another system. And so turning just to, I guess, that ease of use, again, from our experience from working across, now hundreds of METS companies, it has to be easy to use. Otherwise, the whole thing kind of stops at the gate. Here, we're just being able to generate a lot of subsequent workflows. So, for example, you're out there and you see that the condition of a piece of equipment is less than fantastic, and we show them what less than fantastic is. You can automatically generate an action item that comes out of that and goes to the relevant team. Everything from ordering spare parts to prompting a SAP notification, etc. So, again, trying to make sure that we can really easily, without anyone needing to code, be able to digitize and transform some of those really basic functions very, very quickly. One of the other things that we've done is to bake continuous improvement into that function. So people on the front line can capture feedback that they've in fact found a better way to do that task or job. They can provide that feedback to the owner of that workflow. And we've found that really moves the needle on both adoption of some of these technologies, but also it breaks that cycle of, the manual's out of date because no one reads it, so no one updates it. And that's why people are ultimately out there, having best endeavors without necessarily the right information to do the job safely and efficiently first time. So I think probably the call to action is it's kind of no longer an excuse that you haven't even done the digital basics. We've worked really hard to make sure that someone can come in, get started on HINDSITE, and within a week or two, those critical processes are digitized, and you can have your field teams working off the right information at the right time and improving the efficiency of the turnaround of that work item. So I guess we'd love to chat. We have a bunch of, even Orica Digital's Ground Probe team use us. So we've got a bunch of experience we can draw on to not just help you get started, but then take you on the rest of that adoption journey towards digital mastery, because we know that doesn't happen overnight. But the good news is getting started has never been easier, and the results speak for themselves. Typically, we'd start on whatever that thing that adds the most value to your operation or your business, or provides the greatest safety risk or hazard, and we can move the needle on that, within a month. So yeah, please reach out, scan the QR code, give a chat. We'd love to help. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Liam. Some wonderful insights there on some real improvements that can be made in business. Finally, it's my pleasure to welcome Shannon Hand, AVEVA Pre-Sales Manager, Pacific.
Okay.
Shannon, we are having some difficulties with the slides. They might not be able to give you control, so we might have to control them from our end to start with.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Sam. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm the lucky last. Okay, I promise my session will be short and sweet. Okay, so I'm Shannon Han. I work for AVEVA, and for the next 8 minutes, I would like to share with you, how AVEVA digital ecosystem can help you to build a digital ecosystem to drive the sustainability growth. Okay, a little bit history, about AVEVA. So we are an industrial leader in industrial software, and from the screen you can see the dots. The dots is where we have offices, and the pink color dots means we have R&D people there. 10 out of the 10 the leading mining companies in the world are using our solution. Okay, so let's change gear a little bit. Every time I update this slide, when we talk about the data, the figure on this slide is going bigger and bigger. We know we have more and more connected devices which generate more and more data. I borrow one phrase from Rhonda. This is a data tsunami. And on the other hand, we also understand that based on the research, 40% of the global organizations will have an ecosystem platform by 2025, where have gained additional 7% of value from the data compared with those companies who don't. So now we have a situation, right? So on the one side, we have more and more data, and we also understand it is critical to connect the right people to the right data is key to success. However, up to 73% of the data we collected is unused. So why is this gap? So we recognize the organizations are facing many challenges in adopting, digitalization. So on the screen, there are, some of the things we heard from our customer again and again. For example, information silo, inconsistent data. I think these are the points are also illustrated, by the previous presenters, right? So in AVEVA, we believe the first step towards developing a holistic digital ecosystem is by enabling the connection between silos. This can be done by leveraging the digital twin technology infused with industrial AI insight. For example, in your mine site, this means that data from different areas, such as crushing and milling, can create a matrix between real-time data and past experience to develop predictions for maintenance. Some of our customers have already used it. So now let's take one step further. If this data is communicated to the grid in real time, meaning that the system can adjust power consumption and avoid overloading the grid, thus contributing to stabilizing frequency and reducing congestion. This is particularly relevant given the increased electrification of mining assets. So now we get all the data, in one centralized platform. The second step is to gain access to unified, trusted information and insights that span the entire company through an industrial intelligence platform. For example, AVEVA Connect. This approach ensures that companies benefit from a single source of truth, available in real time, that is shared by your internal and external teams. So this maximizes value by fostering an environment of trust through collaboration. So a great example, is that one of our customers, gain additional revenue stream by sharing their data collected from across their network with their end customers, helping them validate their sustainability commitments. And Connect is an open and a neutral platform. It can also provide you a foundation to build your unified industrial ecosystem, because we can send and receive data among other big hyperscaler like Microsoft, Snowflake, Amazon, all those cloud platform. So next, let me run you through one of our customer, how they leverage Connect platform to gain additional value from their data. Cobre Panama operates copper mine site in one of the world's harsh weather conditions, which pushes their fleet of mining truck to its limit. So the equipment deteriorates quickly. Rubber tires goes first. This condition inflicts severe damage on assets and, without predictive maintenance, can lead to frequent periods of unplanned downtime. So before they engage AVEVA, they have different reports and information, usually in the equipment vendor portal. So it's very hard for them to have a right equipment maintenance strategy. So Cobre Panama needs a robust solution to monitor the condition of equipment in real time and then make that information available to its internal maintenance teams, as well as the industrial vendors and the service provider. By leveraging AVEVA Connect platform, we bring together relevant data in one centralized location. So across their multiple sites, they have 56 mining trucks. Each mining truck, they have IoT sensors. So then each truck streams 378 data streams into this centralized data platform, which is AVEVA Connect. So this enables them to provide a centralized data repository with all their data, and which they can share with their vendors, partners, and suppliers. And they also achieve the significant savings through smarter maintenance, damage avoidance, and the reduction of unplanned downtime. So with Connect, we are unifying all these capabilities together and offering them to you in one central location. trusted intelligence with our proven industrial applications, providing you with a single source of truth. Actionable insight. I remember, one of the previous presenters also mentioned this, right? That close the loop and help you to make decisions. Unified experience that bring together, hundreds of applications, data sources, IoT devices into one centralized view. And in the end, we can provide you with an ecosystem that empower you to build a boundless network of your customer, producer, partners, and vendors to collaborate in a frictionless environment. So if you would like to have a discussion about your operation, how you can get on this digital journey, feel free to approach AVEVA. So that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Some great innovation and insight there for the members. It's now time for the Q&A. If you haven't already submitted a question, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. I have got some questions to start with that have come through. Rhonda, for you, question is, what if I already have a dust solution?
That's a great question. What we actually encourage is your existing, way that you're monitoring your dust. We can actually incorporate that. This is a great way that we can actually incorporate your data in our system and give you an outcome. The one that I talked about today, it is agnostic, so it's not set to our specific requirements. This is something that we can take your dust solution and we can actually pull that in and give you the outcomes that we talked about today.
Thank you. Steve, you showed an underground mine. Does it work for other types of mines as well?
Definitely. In fact, we're not limited to mining or any particular area. It's a very generic system that is designed to be customizable to suit your application. So as such, if you're above ground or you're talking about refining or a washery or things like that, you can actually extend the system quite comfortably to look at those applications as well.
Thank you. One for you, Matthew, now. How does Orica Digital Solutions know what solutions to develop with the customer?
I think that's probably the hardest thing that we do. I think we're in a good position in this generation that there are a lot of solutions. They're getting better and better, but there's a high opportunity cost to working on the incorrect solutions or the incorrect problems, depending how you approach it. For us, it starts again with the customer, what's important to them, but I also think it's important to make sure that it meets the business needs as well, right? So it needs to be sustainable, viable, and feasible. And we work through various standard product management prioritization techniques, which I'm sure other companies on the call also use. And but yeah, I think it really ends in open communication and trying to achieve win-win outcomes.
Great, thank you so much. Liam, does using guided work instructions limit the agency of the field tech?
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Look, no, it doesn't. A guided instruction, you see basically someone gets taken through a task, or you can provide prompts and they get taken to the relevant section. We know that if people aren't given the answer in less than 5 seconds, they're just going to give it a crack. So by having the ability to provide that person that optionality, we know that that's actually a more useful tool that they want to have in their pocket when they're out there doing these types of jobs. And as well, as mentioned, we've also put that continuous improvement capability in there, so they have a voice if they have found a better way or have insights into the process itself, which also improves that adoption and engagement by the end users.
Thank you. Shannon, what is the difference between Connect and other cloud solutions such as Azure or AWS? Does it compete with them or do they work together?
Okay, thank you, Sam. Okay, Connect is a platform purposely built for industrial companies to leverage, our decades of experience working with, many companies, right? So one of the biggest advantage of Connect is that, after subscription, you can start working, you can start using it immediately, with very little configuration and without having to go through the process to build it, for example, like microservices. And also, it is possible to integrate data, stored in Connect with services provided by other cloud providers, such as Azure Databricks or AWS. So you can get, the best out of the both worlds. Thank you.
Thanks. Just a general question here. It says, is there a company among all that makes specific sensors to monitor mining operations, or do these platforms use data from already available sensors?
We collect data from the IoT devices or sensors. Yeah.
Yes, very much use your existing infrastructure rather than having to put anything new in place where possible.
Sorry.
From our side, Envirosuite, we can use two ways. We can use your own existing sensors, or some that we supply. So it could be a combination. It could be your own sensors that are data collecting this information, and we bring it into a platform that then carves that up into, I guess, usable information that you can then make decisions about how you're doing things. And I noticed there, Sam, there's another question around weather for Envirosuite. We don't rely on in Envirosuite's weather. The weather comes from reputable global organizations that provide weather information to actually come in and give us this information that then you would make decisions on. So we would talk to you about that in the first instance. We would let you know this is the forecast, but this is coming from a global a simulation of information, not just a local one.
Great. Thank you, Rhonda. Look, we are out of time. Apologies if we didn't get to your question. If you still want to submit them, we'll get them through to the presenter that you want them to be answered by. If you enjoyed this webinar and would like to continue the Innovation Spotlight series with us, please head to our website to register for Mining with Intellect coming up on Monday, the 12th of August. Thank you to everybody who's attended. We look forward to welcoming you to another Austmine webinar in the future. Finally, I'd just like to thank our presenters, Rhonda, Steve, Matthew, Liam and Shannon, for sharing their expertise with us today. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.